There is an oil with 6 times more omega-3 than canola, and it had been pressed by hand in Asia for 2,000 years without chemicals or factories. Yet in the 1970s, an industry worth hundreds of billions of dollars made sure you would never hear about it. And by the end of this video, you will know which plant it comes from and how to grow a lifetime supply yourself. Walk into any grocery store in America tonight, find the cooking oil aisle, pick up the most popular bottle. It is canola oil. Nearly every kitchen in the Western world has one right now. Here is what the label does not tell you. Canola is not a plant. There is no canola tree. The word was invented in 1978 at the University of Manitoba in Canada. It stands for Canadian Oil Low Acid, a marketing term created to rebrand an industrial crop called rapeseed. During World War II, rapeseed oil served as a machine lubricant for ship engines and heavy equipment. When the war ended, Canada was left with enormous farming capacity and nowhere to sell the harvest. So plant breeders reduced the toxic erucic acid, gave it a friendly new name, and by the early 1980s, canola oil sat on every grocery store shelf as though it had always been there. The vast majority of canola oil produced today is extracted using hexane, a petroleum derivative in the same class of compounds found in gasoline. After extraction, the oil goes through degumming with phosphoric acid, bleaching, and deodorizing with high-temperature steam. Over 90% of canola crops in the United States and Canada are genetically engineered. The vegetable oil market is valued at nearly $370 billion worldwide. This is one of the most profitable agricultural systems ever built. Now consider the omega-3 claim on the front of that bottle. Canola oil contains between 6 and 14% alpha-linolenic acid, which is the plant form of omega-3. That sounds reasonable until you learn what exists on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. There is another oil, an oil pressed from a seed cultivated across East Asia for over 2,000 years. That oil contains between 54 and 64% omega-3, the highest concentration ever measured in any plant species on Earth, and almost nobody in the Western world has ever heard of it. This oil can be cold pressed with a simple hand tool in a backyard shed. No hexane, no refinery, no patent on the pressing method. The crop self-seeds so aggressively that a single planting creates a permanent food supply. You never purchase seed again. A product that needs no industrial processing cannot generate processing revenue. A crop that replants itself cannot generate repeat seed sales. An oil made at home with a hand press cannot sustain a $370 billion supply chain. So the supply chain chose the oil that required factories and solvents and repeat purchases. This was not a conspiracy. The system funded what the system could profit from, and what it could not profit from simply never entered the conversation. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, 500 million people kept pressing it and eating it for dinner every single night. Walk into any Korean barbecue restaurant tonight, watch the table next to yours. Diners will wrap grilled meat in large green leaves with serrated edges and purple undersides. This is not lettuce. This is not spinach. This is something most Western grocery stores have never carried. In Japan, every plate of sashimi arrives with a distinctive leaf resting underneath the fish. Tourists assume it is a garnish. It is not. That leaf contains compounds that kill bacteria and parasites on contact. Japanese chefs have placed it beneath raw fish for 500 years, not for decoration, for protection. In China, traditional medicine practitioners have used this dried herb for over 2,000 years, for coughs, for nausea, for skin inflammation, for allergic reactions. The documentation fills thousands of pages in texts that Western researchers never bothered to translate. The plant has 4 names because 4 cultures claimed it independently. Koreans call it kikeenip, Japanese call it shiso, Chinese call it zisu, botanists call it perilla frutescens. 4 names across 4 languages. No unified Western identity. When a plant has no consistent English name, it has no consistent presence in databases or cookbooks or research funding applications. The fragmentation was not deliberate, but the result was total erasure from Western consciousness. The ancient record is staggering in its depth. Around 200 AD, Chinese scholars compiled the Shenong Ben Tao Jing. This is the oldest surviving pharmacopoeia in human history. Perilla appears in its pages. The text describes the leaves for respiratory ailments and the seeds for digestive problems. 2,000 years ago, physicians in China already understood this plant at a level Western science is only now beginning to reach. In Korea, a royal physician named Heo Jun spent 15 years writing the Donggi Bogam. He completed it in 1613. This encyclopedia of Korean medicine documented 17 distinct uses for perilla. It became Korea's most treasured medical text and guided physicians for 4 straight centuries. But Western scholars did not translate it into English until 1999. 386 years of accumulated medical knowledge locked behind a language barrier. During the Edo period in Japan, stretching from 1603 to 1868, perilla cultivation reached 90% of farming households. Families grew it simultaneously for food and medicine and lamp oil. Before electricity reached rural villages, Japanese families pressed perilla seeds each autumn and used the golden oil to light their homes through the long winter darkness. Picture a Japanese farming village in 1750. The sun sets behind terraced hillsides. Inside a wooden home, a mother lights an oil lamp fueled by perilla seeds harvested weeks earlier. Her children eat rice seasoned with fresh perilla leaves picked that morning from the garden. In the next room, a grandmother brews perilla tea for a family member with a stubborn cough. One plant providing 3 essential functions. 0 dependence on anything from outside the village walls. And this was not only an Asian story. Europe had its own ancient omega-3 oil that the modern world erased in exactly the same way. It is called camelina. Botanists know it as Camelina sativa. Europeans once called it gold of pleasure. Some regions knew it as German sesame or Siberian oilseed. It is an ancient oilseed crop that has grown in Europe as early as 4000 BC. The earliest archaeological sites where it was found include Neolithic levels at Auvergne in Switzerland dated to the 2nd millennium BC, a Chalcolithic level at Pefkakia in Greece dated to the 3rd millennium BC, and Suceava Seli in Romania around 2200 BC. During the Bronze Age and Iron Age, camelina was an important agricultural crop in northern Greece beyond the range of the olive. By 600 BC, farmers along the Rhine valleys grew it as a monoculture. During the Roman Empire, oil extracted from camelina seeds was used for lamps, body care, and food. Picture Roman families in what is now Germany or France pressing golden camelina oil for cooking and for lighting their homes at night, the same way Japanese families pressed perilla on the other side of the world. In 1950, archaeologists in Denmark discovered a mummified human body dating back over 2,000 years, and inside its stomach they identified the contents of a final meal that included camelina. That is how deeply woven into daily life this plant once was. Not a luxury, not a supplement, just ordinary food. Camelina cultivation continued until 1940 throughout France, Belgium, and Russia. Then the same industrial shift that created canola pushed camelina out of European farms entirely. After the Second World War, its cultivation declined due to the emergence of more profitable crops. By 1950, this crop had been abandoned and replaced. An entire continent forgot its own ancestral oil within a single generation. Camelina oil contains about 39% omega-3, significantly higher than olive oil, rapeseed oil, and other frequently used seed oils. Not as high as perilla, but nearly 3 times what canola delivers. The oil is also very rich in natural antioxidants like tocopherols, making it highly resistant to oxidation and rancidity. It lasted on the shelf without chemical stabilizers. It pressed cleanly without industrial solvents. And for thousands of years, it fed European families from Greece to Scandinavia without anyone needing a factory to produce it. That is 2 continents, 2 ancient oil crops, 2,000 years of daily use on one side of the world, 3,000 years on the other, both quietly replaced by the same industrial system within a few short decades. Now look at the numbers. In 1991, researchers at the National Institute of Nutrition in India analyzed perilla seed oil and found alpha-linolenic acid concentrations between 54 and 64%. That is the plant-based omega-3, 64% of the total oil. Compare that directly to what sits in your kitchen cabinet right now. Canola delivers 6 to 14%. Camelina oil reaches about 38 to 40%, and European families pressed it for 3,000 years before the modern world forgot it existed. Chia seed oil reaches roughly 58%, and health food stores charge premium prices for small bottles of it. Perilla seed oil reaches 64%. The highest omega-3 concentration ever recorded in any plant species in any laboratory anywhere in the world. And you likely learned its name for the first time just minutes ago. The seeds contain 35 to 45% oil by weight, and that oil can be extracted without heat, without solvents, and without any industrial equipment at all. A family in rural Korea collects seeds each autumn, presses them with a hand-operated device passed down from grandparents, and fills ceramic jars with oil that will last through winter. No pharmacy visit, no online subscription, no supply chain dependency, just seeds and steady pressure and patience. The nutritional profile extends far beyond omega-3. Perilla contains rosmarinic acid in higher concentrations than any other culinary herb ever tested, higher than rosemary itself, despite the name. Rosmarinic acid is a powerful anti-inflammatory compound that blocks the enzymes responsible for triggering allergic responses. In clinical trials, perilla extract reduced seasonal allergy symptoms by 50%. 50 million Americans suffer from seasonal allergies every year. They spend billions on antihistamines and nasal sprays and prescription medications each spring. Imagine those 50 million people growing perilla in window boxes and backyard containers. Imagine them brewing perilla tea when the pollen count rises. The pharmaceutical revenue shrinks. The garden centers sell more seed packets. The power shifts quietly from corporations to kitchen tables. Recent research has pushed even further. In 2024, scientists found that cold-pressed perilla seed oil improved symptoms of neurological degeneration in laboratory models through the gut-brain axis. The oil increased beneficial bacteria, including lactobacillus and bifidobacterium in the gut. It reduced inflammation in the intestines and throughout the body simultaneously. This gut-brain connection represents cutting-edge neuroscience. And a humble plant that Asian grandmothers have grown for centuries was already doing it without a clinical label. Separate studies confirmed that perilla seed oil reduced triglyceride levels by 38% and total cholesterol by 17%. Unlike fish oil, which can accumulate heavy metals and pollutants absorbed during the fish's lifetime, perilla oil comes from a seed that grew in clean soil under open sunlight. No mercury, no PCBs, no dioxin. Every single benefit perilla provides threatens an existing industry. Omega-3 supplements generate nearly $8 billion in annual global revenue. Allergy medications generate billions more. Anti-inflammatory drugs, cholesterol prescriptions. Each category could be partially replaced by a plant that costs nothing after the first planting season. Search PubMed for fish oil omega-3 and you will find over 15,000 published studies. Search perilla oil omega-3 and you will find roughly 400. The ratio is almost 37 to 1. This gap does not exist because fish oil works 37 times better. It exists because fish oil has 37 times more funding behind it. The modern Western diet has pushed the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio to 15 to 1 or even 17 to 1, driven by industrial seed oils like canola and soybean and corn. This imbalance fuels chronic inflammation throughout the body. Canola oil has a ratio of roughly 2 to 1, better than corn oil certainly, but perilla oil has a ratio of 1 to 5, 5 times more omega-3 than omega-6. No other commonly available cooking oil on the planet delivers anything close. Now here is how to grow it yourself. Perilla thrives in USDA zones 2 through 11, which covers almost the entire continental United States, most of Europe, and equivalent climates worldwide. It tolerates poor soil. It tolerates drought once established. It tolerates outright neglect. These are not the traits of a fragile specialty crop. These are the traits of a survival plant. Start by soaking your seeds in water for 24 hours to improve germination rates. Fill a bucket of at least 3 to 5 gallons with basic potting soil. Scatter the seeds across the surface. Do not bury them. Perilla seeds need light to germinate. Mist them gently with water and place the bucket in a sunny location. Germination takes 7 to 21 days. Be patient. Once the seedlings appear, thin to 1 or 2 plants per container. If you are planting in the ground, space them 10 to 12 inches apart. Water about 1 inch per week for the first month. After that, the plant adapts to your local rainfall and essentially takes care of itself. The visual transformation is remarkable. By week 3, green shoots emerge in dense clusters. By week 6, the plants stand 8 inches tall with their distinctive jagged leaves. By week 10, bushy growth fills the entire container. The purple variety displays deep violet undersides on every leaf. The green variety catches sunlight like polished jade. Both produce equally nutritious leaves and seeds. Harvest leaves all season long. They taste like a blend of mint and basil with a faint note of anise. Eat them fresh in salads. Wrap them around grilled meat the way Korean families have done for generations. Toss them into soups. Dry them for tea. In Vietnam, cooks pair perilla with pho and fresh spring rolls. In Korea, families pickle the leaves in soy sauce and garlic, sprinkle ground perilla seed over rice, and drizzle perilla oil on seasoned vegetable side dishes. This plant appears at breakfast and lunch and dinner, at weddings and funerals, at holidays and quiet Tuesday evenings. That level of integration does not happen by accident. It happens because a food proves its value across generations. In autumn, let some plants flower. The tall spikes will produce thousands of seeds. A single perilla plant generates between 1,000 and 4,000 seeds per season. 85% of those seeds germinate successfully. They stay viable in the soil for 5 years or longer. Let them fall, let them scatter, let them build next year's harvest without a single action from you. This is the self-seeding promise. Korean farming villages have documented perilla patches growing on the same land for 10 consecutive generations. No replanting, no seed purchases. The crop simply returns every spring. Collect the excess seeds for oil production. Small hand presses cost less than $100. Pour dried seeds into the press chamber. Turn the handle slowly. Golden oil flows into a collection container below. The leftover seed cake makes excellent garden fertilizer or animal feed. Nothing goes to waste. Korean farmers perfected this technique centuries before industrial machinery existed, and the process remains unchanged because it never needed improvement. Store the finished oil in dark glass containers in a cool spot. Traditional Korean families kept perilla oil in ceramic crocks in underground cellars where it stayed fresh for 12 months or longer. A modern refrigerator only extends those results. Now consider the math. The average American household spends between $120 and $300 per year on omega-3 supplements. Fish oil capsules sitting in bathroom cabinets, soft gels swallowed every morning with coffee, monthly subscription boxes landing on the front porch. A single packet of perilla seeds costs less than $5. That one packet provides a lifetime supply through self-seeding. Over 10 years, the comparison is $1,200 to $3,000 in supplement costs versus a single $5 purchase that never needs repeating. The seeds store indefinitely when kept dry. If pharmacies close, if supplement shipments stop, if industrial supply chains falter, the seeds in your garden shed still grow. The plant still comes back every spring uninvited. The omega-3 content still reaches 64% regardless of what happens in the outside world. This is what resilience actually looks like, not bunkers stacked with freeze-dried meals, not supplements shipped from factories across 3 oceans. Resilience is a plant that returns every spring without being asked, a plant that feeds you and heals you and replants itself while you sleep. The question was never why Asia hid this plant. Asia hid nothing at all. Korean grandmothers wrap meat in perilla leaves at every family dinner without giving it a second thought. Japanese chefs lay shiso beneath every piece of sashimi they serve. Chinese medicine shops display dried perilla on open shelves for anyone who walks through the door. And for 3,000 years, European farmers pressed camelina the same way until the industry told them to stop. Vendors display bundles of fresh perilla leaves stacked in neat rows on wooden tables. Bottles of golden perilla oil line the shelves behind them. Bags of dried seeds fill woven baskets at their feet. Korean shoppers stroll past without pausing because perilla is as ordinary to them as parsley is to you. The extraordinary became invisible through centuries of daily use. Travel to the Nishiki market in Kyoto. Shiso leaves rest beside cuts of fresh fish in refrigerated cases. Japanese fishmongers have stored raw fish alongside these leaves for hundreds of years because the natural antibacterial compounds keep the fish fresh longer. No laboratory study told them to do this. Generations of quiet observation did. The knowledge was always there, always public, always available to anyone willing to look. What happened was structural. What cannot be owned cannot be sold. What cannot be sold cannot be marketed. What cannot be marketed never enters the awareness of people who depend on marketing to learn what exists. 3 generations of Western families grew up without ever hearing the word perilla. Not because someone suppressed it, because no one could profit from revealing it. The same silence buried camelina across Europe. 2 plants, 2 continents, 1 outcome. The plant does not care about profit margins or patent law or marketing budgets. It cares about one thing: reproduction, spreading wherever soil and sunlight allow. For 2,000 years, it has pursued that single purpose across mountain villages and river valleys and terraced hillsides from Korea to Nepal. It will continue for 2,000 more whether anyone builds an industry around it or not. The seeds you plant this spring will grow into bushy green plants by summer. Those plants will drop thousands of seeds come autumn. Those seeds will push through the soil next spring without any help from you. Your children could harvest from the same patch. So could their children after them. This is not a supplement with an expiration date. This is botanical inheritance, a genetic legacy rooted in the ground. Food security measured not in months but in generations. Every spring, perilla will return to remind you that the most valuable things often cost the least. A packet of seeds, a bucket of soil, a few minutes of attention, and then years of quiet abundance from a plant that the seed oil industry replaced but could never erase. If you've ever wondered what plants were growing in biblical times and how you can actually grow them in your own garden today, go check out Eden's Harvest. Trust me, they're bringing scripture to life in a way you've never seen before.